Okay. Hello, YouTube. I'm still on my laptop. I've set my PC for repair and it's been 2 weeks. I think they just took it. So, today, we'll be doing a Kafka quick guide video. Just like normal stat, Lightcone traces, Relic, Eidolon, and so on, and general information, and maybe lightly touch on Teamcomps because I don't think it's like too complicated. But also, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like these characters are balanced. The entire player base just got too used to seeing simulated universe damage. I swear, her damage is pretty fair in my opinion because you need a specific team sort of to play her, right? Okay, because I guess the banner was recent, right? They were asking, should I have pulled for Blade or Kafka, right? My quick take would be Kafka needs more support to work, whereas Blade is like a Clara. You just put them there and they'll do their job, right? They'll just exist and they'll do their job, right? You don't need to invest too much resource in combat, right? You don't have to like buff them or heal them too often. Maybe Blade needs a bit of healing to min-max damage, but yeah, you know what I mean, right? Kafka does need a little bit more help from her teammate and stuff, but she can output higher damage, basically. Let's go for the pepega part of the stream, right? I am not removing my sample gear for my Kafka because Kafka is cool, but sample XDD, right? So my current Kafka build is 3000 attack, 143 speed, 124 regen, and 30 hit rate, right? Well, 29. I'm sure I'm not gonna lose a 0.8 roll in combat. That's not gonna happen. The chance is too low. The general Kafka build, at least for Relic, let's go for Relic first, right? Ideally, I want to run 2-piece speed, 2-piece regen, and 2-piece lightning. The 2-piece speed and the 2-piece lightning is pretty much mandatory, but the orb and the rope, you can run attack, you can run regen, you can run break effect, you can run effect hit rate. It really doesn't matter. The difference it makes isn't a lot. I like the regen set because it helps me get my ult back in more scenarios, essentially. Like a random hit from an enemy could do it as well, or like an enemy kill as well. That also works. So I like regen set a lot on my characters. So for main stat, for boots, I would run for speed boots. For substat, I would go for attack, break effect. Body piece, I would go for attack main stat. Substat would be break effect, speed, and effect hit rate. For orb, I would go for lightning damage. Substat would be speed, break effect, attack, effect hit rate. For rope, I would go for regen rope or break effect rope or attack rope. Once again, your choice really. I like regen rope because I like regen on all my characters. Like ulting one turn earlier is beautiful. Substats obviously attack, speed, break effect, and effect hit rate, right? Same here, same priority, effect hit rate, speed, attack, break effect, something like that, right? That'll be the stat build. I don't have perfect gear. Well, I think that's good enough. That'll be for the Relic, yeah? Speed breakpoints of this game is like 135, 150, and 170, right? If I have 146 speed on Kafka with one copy of her Lightcone, I do jump up to 170 speed, which is pretty high. The reason those speed checkpoints exists is because that's how enemy speeds are kinda lined up. You can like reliably maybe get like 1.5 or 2 turns ahead of enemy overall after a long fight, maybe after several turns, I'd say. So yeah, those are the speed checkpoints, and that's why they're there, right? Speed is a very important stat. All right, let's go for traces. For traces, you go for ultimate first, and then skill, then talent. I don't think you go for this. I just level the basic attack because like, haha, I like it at max. You just go for ult, skill, and talent. Your ultimate is shock debuff, your skill is the detonation, and your talent is the follow-up attack. Realistically, do you need to level her talent that high? I feel like only ult and skill is enough, but like I guess the talent is okay as well. Kafka 5-star Relic is very good, a bit too good, I would say. It gives you bonus damage permanently. It gives you speed every time you attack, right? For Kafka, this is like 14.4 speed. It also, when you hit an enemy, you have a 100% base chance to apply a shock debuff as well. Wait, do I get this relic code? The voices, it's getting me. But yeah, you get damage, you get speed, and you get a shock debuff application, right? Ideally for Kafka, you want around like 3000 attack or higher, about 140 speed or 146 with the light cone, ideally. And you want only 30 effect hit rate. That's if you don't have her light cone or if you don't have her Eidolon 1, right? I don't have Eidolon 1, but I do have her light cone. You would want about 40 or 50 effect hit rate with Eidolon 1 or light cone because they only have a 100% base chance to apply. If you want to guarantee, you need 67, but I would say 40 to 50 is enough, right? The reason why Kafka normally only needs 30 effect hit rate is that her ability has a 100% base chance to apply a shock debuff, and once you get level 80 on her, that chance goes up by 30%, right? So she has a 130% base chance to apply debuff. That's why she doesn't need high effect hit rate on her base skill set. But that completely changes when you have the light cone or when you have Eidolon 1, right? So like realistically, I would have to build more effect hit rate for my Kafka. So I'll work on that because I do have her light cone. Then again, let's go talk about light cone. I would say the best 5-star light cone for her is obviously her own. That gives her a lot of stat, damage, and also an additional debuff, which is really good. I don't know if I like Wealth light cone on her because like it only increased the direct damage she does, right? And it increased effect hit rate if you press your E. But like Kafka applies the debuff by pressing her ultimate or her follow-up attack. So this doesn't really do much. Silver Wolf light cone increase your effect hit rate and you apply a debuff that makes enemy takes more damage for one turn. This is good. This is nice. You don't really care about the crit rate, but like the hit rate and the Aether Code is pretty good, I suppose, because the Aether Code, it more so increase the damage of your team rather than yourself, because the 4-star option increase your personal damage better. So for example, Good Night Sleep Well gives you a 12% damage buff per debuff enemy has, stacking up 3 times, right? So this could be 36% or 72%, right? Now, I think the biggest thing is 5 Wind Shear stack from Sampo only counts as 1 debuff. You would need Sampo Wind Shear, his ultimate, and Kafka debuff for it to work, which you can't get up for like a long time, so it is usable, but you can't apply all 3 debuff with only Kafka, right? Next is Fermata. Fermata gives you break effect and it gives you extra wind shear and shock damage. This is like always applied and it also affects the damage over time as well, and you can max this for free, and break effect is pretty good, so I think I like it. Plus Kafka face is up there, right? Plus the description is kind of suspicious, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how you interpret this. The description is kind of... But if you know what I mean, then yeah, right? After that, we also have Eyes of Prey. This gives you effect hit rate and increased damage over time, right? I think this is good. I like this a lot. However, there's also the other option, right? The maximum damage possible would be Good Night Sleep Well, and then it would be between Fermata and Eyes of Prey. But probably Fermata, because break effect, it also affects the break effect shock debuff, and Kafka breaks shield pretty well, so this is good. You don't really need the effect hit rate from Eyes of Prey on Kafka unless you have like a lot of Eidolon, I suppose. For 5-star, I would go for Patience. For 4-star, I would go for Good Night Sleep Well, Fermata, or Eyes of Prey in that order. Silver Wolf Light Cone is a little bit more supportive though, and I guess Resolution isn't bad because like damage over time does benefit quite well from defense reduction, which brings me to my next point. Generally, Harmony characters don't really work well with damage over time unless you're playing like Asta or something, right? But generally, Nihility character works pretty well with themselves. So like Kafka works pretty well with Hela or Silver Wolf for single target, and it works pretty well with Luca, Sampo, and obviously Servo as well, right? Or team comp building. I know a lot of people want to run this, right? But like this only works if you're manual battling, I would say. If you're auto battling with this team, I don't think it works. It kind of works on auto, but not really, no. If you run this with Natasha, it doesn't work. But if you run this with Luocha, it works. Because Luocha can auto heal, whereas Natasha has to spend a skill point to heal. And when Natasha spends 1 skill point to heal, this shit gets messed up a little bit for at least like 1 turn or 2 turns. And then they recover again, right? Kafka with Sample, or Kafka with Servo, or Kafka with Luca is enough. I don't think you need triple Nihility, okay? Let's speak lightly about how you build them. I know people want to speed tune their team with Kafka, but let me tell you this. Speed tuning Kafka and Sample doesn't matter except the first turn. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. You should just run your Kafka as fast as possible. Get 135, 150, or 170, right? Getting it is pretty comfy if you have her light cone, but haha, get a 5-star light cone forehead, right? Servo is not a damage over time character. Literally like 90% of her damage is from her crits. The reason why you run Servo with Kafka is because Servo extends shock debuff by 2 turns. This also counts the shock debuff you get from breaking enemy shield. So the big shock debuff, you can extend that, right? And that's what makes Servo strong with Kafka, right? However, you do need around like 40 hit rate on Servo. She does get 18 hit rate and 18 crit rate for free, so it's pretty comfy. And if you want to guarantee that this always lands, you need 67 effect hit rate. What the fuck is that? Crack Servo? It's not crack, it's normal. What? You're seeing me. What? It's one copy of his Lightcone. So if I remove this, it's like 86, 120. Okay, never mind. Very relatable code. God damn it. Okay. But yeah, Servo's a crit DPS. You use Servo with Kafka because you want to extend the shock debuff. Sample is because he applies a lot of damage over time. And if you really care about min-maxing skill points on like an enemy, you can just only basic attack with Sample because his basic attack can apply 3 stack of his debuff. And you only press Sample skill if you're breaking fucking shields, right? So Kafka can generally spam E. Sample can kind of basic attack. His ultimate amplifies all damage over time. And Luca also does the same thing, but mainly in a single target. But this shit does last 3 turns, and it affects all damage, not only damage over time. I should probably build Luca soon, but I probably need the gear, right? I don't know why he's Nihility though. I swear to God, he was supposed to be Destruction. But why is he Nihility? I mean, it's cool that he's Nihility. It's cool that he's Nihility. Why does he live with his robotic arm? Is it just to like keep it from like not being stiff? He also should have been Fire Element. That is true. Like, you look at Luca and you're like, Fire Destruction character, and he's fucking Nihility physical. I mean, like, yeah, I guess last minute kit change. I mean, he punches people. That's why he should be Destruction. Okay, but yeah, is that it? Alright, I haven't talked all about Eidolon, right? Eidolon 1. When you do a follow-up attack from your talent, you increase the damage they take from damage over time for 2 turns. Eidolon 2. When Kafka's on the field, increase damage over time by 25%. Eidolon 4. When an enemy takes the shock status, she regenerates 2 energy. Eidolon 6. When enemy is shocked by ultimate or technique or talent, the damage is increased and lasts 1 turn longer. You do double damage. No way! You don't need it. You don't need it, chat. 1 copy is enough. You know what they say? Pulling a gacha character might cost a lot of time or money, but R34 of that character is probably free on the internet. So I think that'll be the end of this little quick Kafka guide. I'm sure you already know all this info, but goodbye.